thanks for joining in today. Marriage Now What? We've got the great Dr. Pastor Chris. Thank you so much. One of the biggest challenges is, with my marriage is feeling like we're both on the same page, right? I mean, having a vision of what we're going to do, where we're going to go, how we're going to do it. Things change because you got the kids changing. You got, we're getting older. Kids are going through new scenarios. And, then we have the kind of these routine things of basketball and different things coming up. And so it's constant for us in our marriage, which when we were dating, I never thought about it. Like for me, it was, what are we going to do Friday night? What are we going to do Saturday? Now it's like, what are we going to do this next year based on what season we're coming into, where our marriage is at. Even my wife said the other day that once the kids are out of the house, maybe we'll go a little bit more holistic eating because it's hard now when you got macaroni cheese and cookies and chips around. So the problem is being on the same page, having the same vision for our life together, just not what am I doing, what are you doing, what are we doing together, and what are we doing with our family, and where are we going with our finances, and putting all that together, feeling connected in our day-to-day life based on the vision that we're going to do. Because a lot of times when you're in a marriage, you're separated from that partner. You're at work or they're at home or, and so you almost feel a little bit isolated. Like, what am I doing this for? Why am I, doing this or not doing that? And so I think over time of, people not having the same marriage vision, they start going down different roads. And, I think it's important to come together and have these conversations of what do you want to do this year? We're at a new year. What do you want to do this year? Do you want to diet more? Do you want to work out more? Do you want to start another business? And so I think it's vital just to consider, where your kids are at. Are they going through puberty? Are they going to a new school? Are they going to college? Are they leaving the house? What are some of the concerns that you might have, when all of your kids are out of your house? And so lots of questions and different seasons that people go through. So I think the importance of our conversation today based on vision is going to be a great one.
I like the way you frame that. You put a bunch of different scenarios in there, and all are real scenarios that can happen or do happen to any of us any given time. The problem being a lot of times is couples just aren't on the same page. It can stand true for couples or for businesses or whatever the case may be. So many times when we're seeing couples, especially in the earlier sessions, there's usually a statement come out, we've just lost our way, or we got off the path for just a minute and now we're way off the path or something like that. But I like what Dr. Rutland says about mission and vision. He says mission is something that hangs on the wall and says this is who we are. And vision says this is how we're going to get out or get to who we are out or even work within. So the mission statement just being, again, this is who we are, and the vision, this is where we're going. The vision, this is where we're going. It's a real problem for everybody that we all lose our way from time to time. And when we see couples, we encourage them to, even just take a note card and each week in between, not with a pen, but with a pencil, write down the mission. This is who we are. And then as a family or as a business or as a family with a business, and then the vision, this is where we hope to go this week. All of our vision should be progressive vision. We never go in a straight line. Things happen all the time that's unexpected, bills or sick kids bills or whatever the case may be. And so vision should constantly change. Getting to that vision, like you said over and over, getting the two on one page is sometimes it's not an easy process, especially if there's stress or turmoil going on. Two spots that we like to go back to, Proverbs 29:18 and Habakkuk 2:2. One of them says, write the vision, make it plain so that all that see it can run with it. And the other says, without vision, people perish. And that's kind of paraphrased the CLT, Chris's little translation of it. I don't think you're going to find that on Bible Gateway, but it just says write it out so people can see it. And we like these little note cards just because people could do this and stick it on their refrigerator or stick it on their bathroom mirror or whatever.
Or on their car while they're driving, they can see it.
And the kids can get on board too, and it can actually be, a goal, something to shoot for, but it's planning, and failure to plan is a plan to fail. We all know that. And so many times couples will come in and there'll be just erase marks and scratch marks and whatever. A+ on the homework because they're putting their 100% to get back on the path. And as far as even like putting Friday night will be family night or game night or date night or whatever, that's a vision. That's something to shoot for. It's one thing to go out and just shoot, but we all have to have targets, and that's what mission and vision is just getting a target to try to address some of the potential problems like you stated in the beginning. And so it is important to know where we're going for everybody.
What I like about it is if you're writing it down and my wife is writing it down, I can see what is valuable and important to her. She's taken the time to think and consider herself. She's taken the time to consider the kids or, accomplish a goal. And so, what do we talk about successful people is they're constantly accomplishing goals. If we were to define and say, well, this person's never accomplishing something, well, then you'd not rank them as successful. So I think it's important for me to see what my wife wants to accomplish and then create that as valuable, and if I can see it on a note card, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. Because for me, I am very task oriented. So I think about my tasks, what's important and valuable to me. And I forget about her. I know her right now. We're in basketball season and she's a coach, and our other daughter is playing basketball, and so she's going to the games and she's shooting with her and she's coaching, and she has all of these things on her plate. And she played for years and years. I could look at it and say, oh, well, she's just doing basketball season, and it's not that important. What's important is that I get home and mow the yard. I do this, and I start checking off the list on my tasks. And that's where I like for us to be able to sit down and me to realign and recognize this is her vision of this season, and it's important enough that she's taken the time out to do it. And I need to maybe yield some of my time to allow her more time to do it. I know one of the things that we get into is, she'll be getting ready to go to a basketball game, and she's got 2 kids, and she's got all this going on, and I'm leaving with 2 kids, and she's like, well, make sure the homework gets done. I'm like, what? Because it's new, I'm not the one doing the homework with the kids every night. And so now it's something on my task list, and that wasn't my vision. My vision was I was going to go to the grocery store, or I was going to cook dinner, or I was going to take a nap. And so then she put something instantaneously on me, which is a pressure that, how am I going to react to that, right? Am I going to be like, well, no, that's your job? And so I think it's so important to prepare by writing down and talking about it. What does this entail? Is you going to be gone 1 night a week, 2 nights a week, 5 nights a week? Or are you going to be gone, physically? Now it's more challenging to her. So now, just to be able to accomplish more things, even physically, is harder on her because of all the time that she's doing with this basketball. But the greatest thing about it is if I am prepared as a husband, I can support her better in it. And I can see the value in it. And so that way I don't mind yielding my time to her because I see the value in it for her, And then the other thing is it's just a season, So we have to analyze, is this just a season of time of 6 weeks, 8 weeks? Is it going to be the rest of our life? Is it going to be the whole year that I need to start adapting on a weekly, daily, nightly basis?
One thing you said, the whole premise behind making the note cards or notepad or whatever, it's not just to have something to put on paper. It's about meeting a need. That's it. Now, some couples may be able to operate verbally and keep the need on the forefront so that it gets taken care of. Most cannot. Most are juggling kids and schedules and everything else. And one more piece of paper, yes, is just something to keep up with. But it's really about just meeting each other's needs. What needs specifically do I need to meet this week to get back on track? What needs do I need you to meet this week specifically for us to get back on track? And so meeting each other's needs. I'm not as sharp as most, I know that. It took me and Stacy probably say 18 years to realize that neither one of us could read each other's minds.
Right.
And sometimes that slips back up. Well, I thought you knew, or I thought you would have. Well, no. She's got 900 things going on, laundry, kids, school, all this other stuff. So there's no time for assumption or me thinking that she automatically knew that I needed all my camouflage washed 2 days before deer season or whatever. No, that's just a little,
Well,
but
even,
I do like them washed 2 days before deer
right,
season.
but even think about it right now. You're entering into a new realm of finances, right? You're basically getting your license to become a real estate agent. And so that's going to be an ongoing demand. Well, what is the vision? The vision is that you can make more money for the income for the household. But there's demand behind the vision. I think that's what we're talking about today is what is, it's not just one thing to have a desire to do something, but the demand behind it to be able to accomplish that's success. If you want to be successful at doing that, you have to have your wife behind you, your daughters behind you to be able to do that. Or every night you're going to come home and they're going to say things like, well, it's past dark and you're not home yet. Well, did you, do this today? Well, no, I couldn't. I had to put that on the back burner. So if everybody understands, then it's more acceptable when you don't come home. It was okay because he's doing what was on the card of vision that we have together for our family that we've decided for.
Yeah. So this morning I ran into a guy early. I see him once or twice a week. Normally happy-go-lucky guy, just great guy, always full of energy, got something encouraging to say, and he had like 1 million pounds. I could just see it on him. And, hey, I spoke, hey, how are you? And he was like, good, things are good. And I was like, things aren't good, are they? And he's like, no, things aren't good. And so he laughed kind of like you did, but I remembered back to, I've got a friend that talks about planned neglect a lot. And we just talked about planned neglect for a few minutes. And I was like, what can you take off your plate today and still get to the end of the day and have most of your stuff accomplished? That, not procrastination, but planned neglect. Are there things that don't have to get done today, but you can still stick with the vision of the day or the time, by lunch or whatever, and still get through? And as simple as him hearing that planned neglect thing, he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to neglect some things today. And it wasn't that he's going to forget to pick his kids up from school, but it may be just some little appointments he could bump out of the way. And this is a very organized guy, and he's got it together and going on. You can tell that by his business and his actions and what have you. But we all forget sometimes that there are things that can get done tomorrow that don't have to be done today. But what cannot be put off is your mission and vision for your marriage or for your business. Or if your marriage is off the path or in the ditch or however, this is vital. Where are we going? How are we going to get back to where we're supposed to be? What's the target look like? And maybe not where we were, but where are we going? We go to Romans 12:2 a lot. Don't be conformed, but be transformed. Well, where we're going is not where we used to be. It's somewhere different, somewhere better, somewhere higher. And so keeping that in front of people, and we all need to be encouraged from time to time, like, say every day. And so it's important to be around people that are going to encourage you and not constantly kick you or bring you down.
Yeah, when you talk about vision, and you can both say the good and the bad that you see in it. So my wife is right now basketball coach for one team. But if she asked me, could I be basketball coach for two teams, I'd probably say, no. So there's...
No, you would. You'd say, how much does it pay?
Well,
that's what
it
you would
pays
say.
nothing, so I know nothing.
That's what you would say.
But the thing is like, I think we should be able to allow people to say no to some of the things. Is it no for now? Is it no forever? Is it no because of this? Is it no because of that? If it was a financial no, no, you can't do it because basically I need you to work to bring in that income. And if you drop that, then basically our income is going to go lower. That's a real analytical thought of what should we do with our time, especially when you're doing something extra for nothing. One of the rules that we kind of talked about was only doing one extra thing outside of work, because we valued the marriage so much that we didn't want to be cluttered with so many things in our life, volunteering especially. We're in South, so basically hospitality, right? Where, I'll help you, I'll do this.
I've heard something about that.
Right. So I think sometimes we forget and we accept things outside the vision of our marriage by all the things that are bombarded, from our society, and we forget that vision. And it's not meaningful. I didn't mean to forget about my wife or what her desires were or what we agreed to be our desires together. But I accepted something that I shouldn't have accepted. Not that it was bad.
Yeah.
And then I did it again. And then I did it again. And I start losing focus of that vision.
You know, in conversations of even trying to come to that vision, Mr. David Brown, who mentors us, in communication teaching, when that word no comes up, you know, no is usually just, it can be a complete game changer. But I like the way Mr. David puts it out there. He says, I'm going to have to ask you to forgive me, but this time it's no. And so he's going ahead and setting the stage that, but then, you know, reason or justification why. I'm going to have to ask you to forgive me, but the answer is no this time because we're in a busy season. Or it's a lot different than just not dropping that no and turning around and walking off, which I never do. I'm just kidding. That's probably going to have to be edited out. But sometimes Stacy will ask me stuff and I'll be like, no. And I'll just keep going. And she's like, well, what do you mean no? And I'm like, there's just too much going on. And then she'll say, well, why didn't you say we have too much going on right now? So right now I believe no. And we're all wired differently. Sometimes I just need to give that short answer because I've already got so much going on and vice versa. But just careful in the delivery process of that, because poor communication is probably what got us or gets us or many off the path to begin with, is lack of effective or good communication. And so back to the note card. We have nothing on our card right now.
Well, we don't have a vision for marriage either.
For all that are watching, we do have somewhat of a target for today. So I think we've stuck pretty close to it.
Well, let's talk about the challenge, basically. So the challenge to me in hearing that was, 1, being able to write the vision down. 2, coming together and communicating that vision clearly to the other person. 3, is it okay for the other person to say no? And then 4, if that person says no, what could make that a yes? Is it the season? Is it the time? Is it the money? You know, like, I think that's the greatest thing and challenge of this, of how can we make everything work? Where's a win-win for you and me and my wife? You know, like, how can we make this work together? So even though the no is no, is it a temporal no? Is it everlasting no? So the challenge is today, do these 4 steps. Go write it down. Communicate together. Analyze it. And if your answer is no, why? And make it where there's a possibility of a yes. And then work on that. And that's going to be the next episode, where we talk about actually working out this conversation of having the vision. Now we have to do the application of it. We have to sometimes yield our own, targets and goals to make the family target and goal number 1. Until next time.